pick up on what Philip said there, that we went through a period of transparency, requiring transparency. I think that shifted even further over the past 2 years. I think we moved from transparency to more almost combining that with introspection. It's not just what we are expecting of others, it's what we're expecting of ourselves now, what's important to us. And that brings a whole new flavor to everything. But in conjunction with that, I want to say that I think it shouldn't be a black and white situation of, well, if you're only talking about the money side, it's bad, you need to only talk about the other side. It is a holistic thing. Business, I do believe, is going to be the key factor that is going to bring change in the world. So you need to make money, you need to actually be profitable so that you can leverage that. But I think that's the key thing is how do you use that power that gives you? And it's not just about the money, it's about how did you get there? What's the value you're providing? How you're giving back? How you collaborating? So it becomes this holistic thing. So we shouldn't throw out the money part, but it is how you actually move forward with it and use the power that it gives you, and doing it in a way that you are really introspective about what really is important to you, what's important to those around you, and how do we build a future that collaborates those two things.
So for example, if you look at the SDGs, right, the global goals, the sovereign fund of Singapore said, first of all, we're only going to invest now in impact-driven projects. That's what we're doing, right? And they've had that now for 3 years. They've also realized something interesting, which was, they didn't say this directly, but they said it sort of indirectly, that when the people designed the global goals, no marketing people were involved. It's just these 17 numbers, and it's kind of hard to get together. So they've now done a little thing. I'll find a link later on where you can actually change all the position of the goals now, and you get it in an ABC format, where A stands for active economy, B stands for, and there's lots of those, B stands for beautiful society, so it talks about gender equality, all those sorts of things, and then the C down the bottom, not surprisingly, stands for clean air, and it's really very cool. So there's a lot of stuff there going on, and we see SDG things everywhere and so on.
I appreciate everything that's been spoken so far, and I think when it comes to leadership, I think there's an interesting shift that's happened over the last 2 years. Much of it positive, in the sense that looking at things from a collective perspective, from the we, as you said, from the singularity of us all together, has been a bit more adopted from people who I would have never imagined truly a few years ago would be open to the concept and understand that there's no work and then life and then the planet and then this. It's all an amalgamation of everything, interdependent, as you said, in this organism. So I believe there's a shift in consciousness, which I think is tremendous. So a shift in global consciousness is a shift that's making its way to the business world in a really meaningful sense, in the sense that people are looking at their team, their impact is globally, looking at it all collectively, and being more open to inputs from their teams, suppliers, vendors, stakeholders, internal and external.
Doing it. I don't know if you know, but what the largest human collaboration so far is, it's Wikipedia, right, in terms of the most people are contributing to. The second largest is the manual to World of Warcraft. It doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter exactly how old you are, it doesn't matter if you're a boy or girl, right? You have a username and you can participate, and you can contribute. And I think that the next generation actually already understands that they now have technologies available to them that allow them to participate and contribute in society and create impact here, no matter where they are, no matter what their gender is, no matter what their skin color is, no matter what their nation is. But they're already getting this. They're actually living in that world much more so already. than most of the adults still, who are like, do I have to do this through an email? Right? They're already getting, collaboration on that grand scale much more than we do, and I think that gives me actually personally a lot of hope, because they make things happen, right, in a much quicker way than us trying to make this happen for business or typical politics, even worse, right, or for some of these very slow institutions.
Consider the topic of discussion today, Together We Will Rise. I consider the importance of leaving no one behind, and this most importantly includes children. So children, they don't have the right to vote or the same opportunities to influence the corridors of power or change things in the way that adults do. So it's critically important that we represent their interests and empower children themselves to be able to speak out and claim their human rights. And with two global emergencies currently happening simultaneously in terms of COVID-19 and the climate emergency, now more than ever, we must really rise together to try to affect positive change for each other, our children, and our fragile planet. And in a recent research I've undertaken, it is evident that many children globally are not faring well in the context of both emergencies, with many of their human rights being breached. So I've been advocating with governments, international institutions and private sector organisations to consider all their decisions and their actions through a children's rights lens. And this can truly have positive outcomes for children and the adults they will become, as well as future generations. I've developed a children's rights way of thinking and principled and practical framework to help organisations better embed their children's rights. And this has recently been adopted by governments and public bodies all across Wales, also 43 children's ombudspersons across Europe, and has recently been advocated with the Director General at the United Nations. So I believe sharing within and across communities can have a real positive ripple effect to influence what is happening across the corners of the globe, creating positive change for all our children and ourselves as well, working collectively across sectors. So it really is a pleasure to be here today, Sharon, and I really look forward to being inspired by the rest of the conversation. Thank you.
To talk about a little bit about technology, how that is accelerating the formation of communities. So as some of you might know, my day job is called Cyber Gear. It's an internet services company I started a good 25 years back. And what I am hearing from some of my clients is that their speed of interaction is increasing, their speed of response is increasing, because if you look at a typical customer today, he can shout out, on Facebook, and 2 minutes later on Twitter, then on Clubhouse. So, leaders have to be very agile and very quick to adapt. So you cannot work at that old snail space anymore, because technology has enabled people, right? Everybody is a journalist, everybody has a camera, and they can immediately take a photograph and it can go viral on social media. So I think it's technology as an enabler has also is a double-edged sword in many ways, in that organizations have to wake up and move very fast, at the speed of lightning, really, as they say, or the speed of thought, because you have to be faster than the speed of your clients, right? So I find that's another big challenge. And I want to close from this quote by Deepak Chopra. He says, I quote, "Giving connects two people, the giver and the receiver. And this connection gives birth to a new sense of belonging." I was fortunate enough to meet Deepak Chopra a couple of years back in Dubai. He had come here on a book signing spree. And I asked him, how do you define yourself? And he said, I'm a speck of dust in the junkyard of infinity. On that note, we will close today. I want to thank all my panelists for their contribution. I loved it. We have created great experiences which we will cherish. I want to thank my audience for investing their 60 minutes with us, and look forward to another edition of Plan for Impact. And Lisa, we need to get started on that, and we'll announce it in the next couple of weeks, and let's agree that we'll do it in January. So I wish you in advance a very happy and prosperous new year. Stay safe, stay connected. Goodbye.